It's time now for the news review of this bulletin. Burkina Faso has called for the immediate withdrawal of French troops from the African country. Burkina Faso's military rulers denounced an accord which allowed the presence of French armed forces since 2018, telling France to leave the country within a month. On Friday, people also thronged the streets of the capital to demand the French ambassador to leave the country. Burkina Faso's former colonizer maintains some 400 special forces there under the pretext of protecting civilians from extremist militants. People, however, believe that France has failed to properly tackle armed groups, and its military presence has even deteriorated the security situation in the country. France's Macron says that he is awaiting clarifications from Burkina Faso on its demand for French troops to leave. Moustafa Traore is an academic and political commentator, joining us from Paris. We also have Jonathan Ofeansa, publisher at Africa Briefing, joining us from London. Gentlemen, welcome to you both. Moustafa Traore, first over to you. So here you have another country in Africa wanting France to leave. The basic premise there is the fact, and the reasoning given is the fact that France cannot help with the security situation, pure and simple. Why is France failing that way?
There are many reasons why it is a failure. We have to remember that France arrived in this region in Africa in 2012, so which means a long time ago, something like 10 years ago. And first, when France intervened, it was in Mali. It was the objective was to fight against the terrorists. But it seems that the threat has spread with time, and now it is in Burkina Faso. And one thing that changed the deal is when we had the arrival of the military in Mali, and when they started to get rid of the French, it seems that since the situation has improved a lot in Mali. So Burkina Faso sees that, and the people of the country understand that maybe France is partly responsible for the chaos that is being created in this region, and that maybe the interest of the French in this issue is not the interest of the people of Burkina Faso. So I think this is what explains the situation. There are many other reasons, but this one is very important.
Well, Jonathan, if you agree with our guests there, tell us what your thoughts are, because this is another country within a span of a short period of time, rather, that you have France to not want their presence there, in the case of both Mali and Burkina Faso. Are we looking at maybe France's presence in other segments of the country that have led these countries to reach the conclusion that France should not be there, security being one of them?
Yes, I do agree with what the other guest said. Yeah, because you take, as you said, you take Mali. I mean, France has been part of the Operation Barkhane since 2012, and there's been no improvement in the security situation in Mali. And you take Burkina Faso, French troops, 400 French troops have been there since 2018. But yet the situation is deteriorating. Only last week, about 50 or 60 women and children were kidnapped by jihadist extremists, right? And it was the Burkina forces that were able to rescue these women and children. So I believe that the Burkina base believe that the French troops are not serving any useful purpose in their country. Hence, the demand for them to leave Burkina Faso.
Taking a look at what other factors may lead to this, Moustafa Traore, what are we looking at when it comes to Burkina Faso, aside from the security situation? Are we looking at any particular actions that France partook in that country, or even in Mali, that perhaps, again, these countries feel like France's presence there is not beneficial?
Yes, during that time, when they had the French in Mali, for example, what the French did not do, they did not equip the Malian military with the efficient weapons. And since they've left, it seems that now they are provided with weapons, very good weapons from the Russians. Of course, they have to pay for these weapons, for all these aircrafts, all these equipment. But this is what the Malians are saying. They would like to defend their own country, to fight against the terrorists themselves. And we not say, it's okay, we are going to help you, but at the same time, they do not train you properly, they did not give you the equipment, and the worst thing here, not allowed to fly over your country without them giving you the authorization. This is a crime, because when you have people being kidnapped, okay, and you cannot intervene, you cannot even fly because you do not have any aircraft, because you are not allowed to use your airspace. This is a very big problem. Regarding these 60-something women who were kidnapped, they were rescued with the help of the Malians. This is very important. The Malians, they got rid of the French. Now they are better equipped. They could give the information to the people, to the army in Burkina Faso, so that they could rescue these kidnapped women. So what was France doing during all that time? We know that in France we have all kinds of satellites. What are the satellites doing? How can we explain that 2,000 men are in Niger? What are they doing? And we heard last week, or it was even this week, that the French government was saying they are going to increase the budget of the army. What for? For these 20,000 people in Niger? So there are lots of questions here that we have to ask ourselves.
Well, you raised some important questions there. Can you answer any of them, Jonathan?
Yes, I do. Again, I do. I mean, I do agree with Moustafa. I mean, look, like I said earlier, France has been there in the Sahel since 2012, and in Burkina Faso in particular since 2018. And what have they been able to achieve? I mean, virtually nothing. Okay, and Mali has engaged the Wagner, forces from Russia, and since their engagement, it appears Mali is doing well, much better against the jihadists, the extremists, than when the French troops were stationed there, right? So I believe that the Burkina-based are taking a cue from Mali. And again, like Moustafa said, those 60-odd women who were kidnapped, and were rescued. I mean, the Malian troops assisted the Burkina-based troops, in rescuing those women. So the Burkina-Faso government is actually taking a cue, taking an example from Mali, and asking, the French troops to leave. Because if you've been in my country since 2018, and yet the extremist activities, are increasing, I mean, what's the point of you still being in the country? So you have to go, so that I will let somebody who is more capable of helping me to fight these jihadists come in. So it is simple as that.
Thank you very much. Let me thank Moustafa Traore, academic and political commentator from Paris, and thank you, Jonathan Ansah, publisher at Africa Briefing from London. And with that, we come to an end for this news review. Thanks for tuning in.